Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. Africa was chopped into states artificially created by accident of European competition. Analyze. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Most of the African continent has a colonial past, and the number of nation-states formed in Africa in modern times is more than that formed in the rest of the world for many centuries. The process of creation of states in Africa has near absent participation of local people, and it was primarily driven by colonial interest and competition between different colonial powers. The main body of the answer should be number 1. By 1878, King Leopold of Belgium had gained a large sphere of influence in Congo region, which was rich in minerals and timber. This alarmed the other European powers, who subsequently carved out Africa into their individual spheres of influence. Number 2. The British got hold over Nigeria and France over Morocco and large parts of interior Africa. Number 3. US founded Liberia to resettle the slaves liberated from America, and Portugal got control over Angola. Number 4. Similarly, in southern Africa, the Dutch had settled in Cape of Good. After the defeat of Dutch at the hands of Napoleon, the South Africa was surrendered to Britain. The present-day Zambia and Zimbabwe was founded by an English explorer. Number 5. In the east, the Great Britain controlled Kenya, Germans controlled the Cameroon, and the French and Portugal established Madagascar and Mozambique as their respective sphere of influence. Number 6. After the defeat of Germany in the war, Somalia, Eritrea and Ethiopia were given to Italy. Number 7. In the North Africa, Algeria and Sub-Saharan Africa was controlled by France, while England dominated Egypt and Sudan. Number 8. In the entire process, the African customs and regional identities were totally overlooked, which is evident from the geometrically precise boundaries of African nations. Conclusion of the answer is: therefore, it is evident that the present-day political boundaries of Africa are outcome of colonial completion and bargain among the imperial powers of the time, which have nothing to do with the parameters on which the modern nation-states are created. Question number 2. Individual parliamentarians' role as the national lawmaker is on a decline, which in turn has adversely impacted the quality of debates and their outcome. Discuss. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The primary function of Parliament is to facilitate deliberation and enact laws. However, the present political climate has created a dramatic democratic paradox. Parliament has turned into a game with the Council of Ministers deciding policy matters and the majority party subsequently voting for it. The main body of the answer should be: the three-line whip and the anti-defection law further curtails the freedom and independence of MPs. In contrast to what the Constitution demands of them, MPs now succumb to the whims and fancies of their political masters irrespective of their individual views. The anti-defection law was enacted in 1985 when one legislator changed parties during a vote of confidence. To assume that all MPs would act similarly is to debase the legislature and the nation as a whole. Eventually, such MPs would suffer in the course of the next election, but impinging on the freedom of the legislators is the larger evil. Even if such laws didn't exist, MPs would still be inclined to vote according to their party line to maintain favor with their political masters. The gradual loss of confidence in the arbiters of Parliament adds to its declining quality. The rules of the proceedings being violated or subverted to suit the ruling disposition. The opportunity to hold the government accountable is persistently lost or diluted. Answers to questions are either misleading or incomplete, opportunity for discussion under Rule 193 is given only to the ruling disposition or the principal opposition. Conclusion of the answer is: there is a need to introduce intraparty democracy in the selection process of candidates to tackle the problem of dynasty, wealth and power. Question number 3. What do you understand by fixed-dose drug combinations, FDCs? Discuss their merits and demerits. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Fixed-dose combination, FDC, drugs are drugs having 2 or more active ingredients in a single dosage. They are widely used to improve patients' compliance as it is easier for them to take one drug than several. The main body of the answer should be: Number 1. They are acceptable only if the drugs so combined have therapeutic advantage, for example ibuprofen. Number 2. India is one of the world's largest markets for FDC drugs that make up almost half the market share. Central Drug Regulator of India, CDSCO, came out with the policy guideline for the approval of FDCs in 2013. Number 3. DCG directed the manufacturers to prove the safety and efficiency of FDCs licensed prior to October 2012, failing which production will be banned. Advantages of FDCs. Number 1. They provide benefits in terms of potentiating therapeutic efficiency. Number 2. They decrease the incidence of adverse effect of drugs. Number 3. They have pharmacokinetic advantages. Number 4. They reduce pill burden. Number 5. They are cheaper than individual drugs due to reduced cost of packaging to distribution. Number 6. It lowers manufacturing and logistic costs. Disadvantages of FDCs. Number 1. It could be unsafe for consumption as it has potential health risks associated with it. Number 2. These risks may not originally exist in the individual ingredient, but it increases its risk seriousness. Number 3. When side effect occurs, it is difficult to recognize which ingredient caused it. Number 4. Rampant use of FDCs enables antibiotic resistance to grow at a significant rate. Number 5. For example, ciprofloxacin resistant have made typhoid treatment very difficult. Number 6. FDCs are famous not because of therapeutic effect but because of its low manufacturing cost and high demand.